to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Buck?
Here.
Councilmember Marshall?
Here.
Councilmember Jabri? Absent. Vice Mayor Freeman?
Here.
Mayor West?
Here.
Thank you. We have four.
All right, at this point we're going to do public comment. That's anything you can say that's not on the agenda. It's not going to do anything because the law prohibits us from acting on anything that's not on our agenda. So we can, if you let us know something, we can put it on a future agenda, but we can't respond to it tonight. No. Thank you.
I have Matthew Manning.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Matthew Manning. I live at 130 San Juan Highway. I'm also the co-owner of the property, which is along the northernmost boundary line to the Meritage development. Over 2 months ago, it was brought forth before the council when the final map was being approved. Several issues. The one that I wanted to bring up tonight was the construction of the Good Neighbor fence on top of their wall. Over 2 months ago, they promised that they would get started on it the next several days after they started to work on it, and now nothing has happened. And the reason this is of urgent concern is I recently put our herd sire bulls in that field in front of there, and for some time now, garbage has been not only accumulating between their wall and our fence, but also blowing into our field. These animals are very valuable to our business, and they don't need to be ingesting waste in this construction. And this fence would catch that, and it would also provide some privacy for myself. And it's also required that they build this fence. So that was pretty much it from me. So thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, what is it?
I don't think you should. I don't.
Any other?
Yes, Jolene Cosio.
Hello, Council. Jolene Cosio, 181 Lane Street. Last month, I gave each of you a copy of some correspondence between myself and the city manager over a almost 7-foot tall fence on 6th Street. And she responded promptly and appropriately with what I had to say. But I did send her back an email. Thank you for your prompt reply to my complaint. I believe that when a non-compliance order is issued, there should be a red tag placed where all can see. That would have avoided a great deal of citywide discussion and shown any other residents who want to build such a structure that it will not be allowed. Placing a notice on the fence would have also saved a great deal of time for you responding to my, and I assume other complaints, and a great deal of aggravation on my part. 60 days seems like a long time to allow the structure to stand, because her response said that she had given notice on July 10th and allowed until September 10th for the fence to come down. And I'm surprised the city does not have a means of forcing more rapid compliance, like a daily fine. As you may be aware, I'm not the only person to have made sure the city was aware that this fence does not comply with city codes. One planning commissioner noted that he had personally received at least 6 complaints on the fence, and another planning commissioner noted that he had turned it into the city. No one I spoke with was aware that the city had acted. In fact, several people who should have known, including the code enforcement officer, said nothing would be done until all other fences not precisely meeting the code had been tagged. There aren't many other fences that don't comply, and there aren't any other fences that are this far out of compliance. So I had a little problem with that one. But please note that the code refers to the required front yard. So since most of the downtown buildings do not have a requirement for a front yard, they would be exempt except where sight lines for traffic are obstruction. It bothers me that they had so long, especially because the house is for sale. Notice given to the resident on July 10th, that fence must be removed within 60 days because if the house is for sale, so if it's sold, I don't know if it's sold yet, the city will now have to greet the new owner by saying, welcome to the city, now remove the fence in front of your house. You know, it just doesn't seem like a very good way to handle it. It seems like it should be handled with the person who put up the fence. I have one other issue currently that kind of stemmed from my looking into the background on this fence. I noticed all of the diesel coming from Shop and Save, is it? For the generator running well 4. I believe it's called well 4, or is it called well 5? The one that has the generator. And I just want to know what the cost of the diesel fuel is, including the city workers' time to go pick up the fuel and the cost of renting the generator. And hopefully in the city manager's report there will be some kind of timetable on when we will be hooking up that well, so that we don't have to go to this extreme expense of renting a generator and then having to get diesel fuel to keep it running. That's all I've got right now. Thank you.
Michelle, do you want to respond to that now, or do you want to wait till your report?
I don't think that's appropriate.
The report, I
Yeah.
think,
Okay, it'll cover it.
seems like the right.
Any other cards?
No, I have another speaker.
Okay, anybody else want to say anything on public comment? Right, we're going to close public comment. Go to the consent item, number 3.
Motion to approve.
We have a second?
Did you want to poll?
I think somebody wanted to
Yeah.
post something.
Yeah, we wanted to pull the chicken festival.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Motion to approve A, B, and D.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-1. Right, C, approve resolution for street closure chicken festival.
So the only thing to discuss on that is that the mission came to me about a week and a half ago and wanted to collaborate with the chicken festival. And so I integrated the mission folks and for the Mexican Independence Day fiesta that they're doing and the chicken festival. So we've all agreed, and Naomi's here too, and Benito's here from the mission. We all agreed that it would be great to combine these two events. So Benito and I are working with the state park to secure the state park field for the Mexican Independence Day. Usually they have the event in the Olive Garden, but we're going to see if we can move it to the big field. And then what we're asking council is if you're okay with us closing off 2nd Street in front of the state park so that pedestrians could do a full loop from the Mission down to the Chicken Festival and back up to the Mission Festival during that time frame.
So it would be, 3rd Street would be closed and 2nd Street.
Correct.
And then, and Washington and, is it Franklin?
It would
Or
be,
not the side streets, just the
yeah, just in front of the state park. So, for instance, and we are working with the fire department if they do have to get out, and they normally don't go right.
No, right. Go the other way.
So it wouldn't really impact them, but if they, for some reason, did have to go right, we'd create an access path to get them there. So it's just sectioning off that so that pedestrians can easily walk down to, and it's just that one block.
So it'd be 1st, 2nd, Franklin and Washington?
Franklin and Mariposa. Between actually Washington and Mariposa.
Washington, Mariposa.
Yeah, just from Washington to
Mission Cafe
Mariposa.
is right. One-way street.
Right,
Yeah.
down Mission Cafe. It's really just that plaza area, you know, where the white wall is in
Yeah.
town. It's a circular rotation around there. And if they're in the state park, I mean, it'd be great if the state park opened that one gate. That would be fantastic. I doubt they'll do that, but it could be the first step in potentially working, you know, between the business, commerce, the city, the mission, and the state park. I think it would be a good opportunity to start that collaborative work together.
Right.
So that's the ask. Benito, did you want to say anything else? Or Naomi, Max? It's just been a really great team effort. All 4 of us have been working together to create a really...
It's great that you can all work together.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have a fight over this.
Sounds good to me.
Benito, you want to say anything? Or Max?
I think Randy Hi, my name's Benito Garcia. I'm the parish secretary at the mission. And, you know, this is a little late, and we'd appreciate it if we could do everything that Michelle asked, because me, Michelle, Father and I have met already, and there's so much potential for this. You know, Father was willing to, if the city couldn't because it was late and stuff, that just let the city go ahead with the chicken festival and then we prepare for it next year. But we'd really love to have this so long as the state park cooperates. And if not, we're prepared to do it right here in the olive grove. But there is so much potential for this, especially for next year and the years to come. And then we could better prepare for it and everything else. But we'd really appreciate it if we could get those streets closed so that when we go to the state park or get an answer for them, we can move forward because we're pressed for time here. So it is important if we can get an answer. Somebody else?
Naomi or Max, you want to say anything about the chicken festival?
We're going to open a public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to open a public hearing.
Well,
If you like.
yeah.
I think it's great, we can all work together.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're a small town, we all know each other.
No, really.
Let's just do it all together, bring everybody to town. People from here can come down to ours, people from ours can go up there. That's the way it should be. Just everyone working together.
Did you get any queens?
I've gotten 2 queens. The queens have been very late. I have 3 males that want to run for king, but I only have 2 girls as of today.
Oh, good. That's good.
So I'm
That's
hoping
good
for
news.
more. Max has been out at the high school, you know.
It's good news.
Really out there, so.
We didn't have any a week ago.
Yeah, so they're getting,
That's good.
why are you, everybody?
I know. I don't know why everyone's laughing.
Because we think it's great. It's
Good.
Yeah.
joyful,
I think
yes.
it's great too.
Joyful.
I grew up in the chili capital of the world, and we had a chili queen. So,
Yeah, I want us all to
good.
work together.
Good.
thank you so much for your hard work, Naomi, too.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public want to say anything on this?
Benito.
All right, I'm going to close the public hearing.
Oh, I think you got a couple
I was
more.
waiting for him to go up.
Oh,
I just wanted to clarify on the street closure. Is the street in front of Hardines and Donias going to be closed there?
All of
Third
Third
Street.
Street is.
All of Third? And-
Yeah, between Donias and Mokelumne.
Yeah, I just wonder if you might want to consider
Why are they closing
starting the
down?
closure,
Earlier?
later, down on the other side of Washington so that people can come on Washington and then turn to go to those restaurants or come from the restaurant and go down
Street
the
up.
other side
I
of
thought it was only gonna be that
Washington.
one block.
I mean,
no, the whole street.
that part of the city is just so busy with restaurants and stuff, and other events that we've had have made those restaurants pretty unhappy, I think, sometimes. So it's just something, a different way to consider it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I know we've had some odd events before where people had to make U-turns on narrow city streets because 3rd Street was closed and they were coming down Washington and then they hit 3rd Street and they try to make a U-turn to get out of there. I don't know, it's just something else to consider, starting it maybe a little bit further down and allowing traffic to at least come into the town.
The good news is this, and Benito, we can work on this, is that you're gonna open up the parking lot for sure. So we're gonna have a lot of parking.
Yeah. I don't really help the restaurants over there, but I don't know, it's just something else.
I guess that's debatable, but the restaurants, a lot of people park there to walk to the restaurants. It's only
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
everything we've done, I've never heard a complaint from a restaurant.
really?
Never.
Never.
No.
None of us have.
That's surprising. I have.
No, yeah.
Any other public comment? All right, I'm going to close the public comment period. I need a motion and a...
Well, can I have a question? I thought we were only going to close off the one block. Have they got enough booze and or whatever to close off the whole main street?
We're getting there, yes.
Okay.
They're already full to Mission Cafe from Donia's.
Yeah.
That's where I thought we were going to close it off. Now it's going to go all the way down to the colony?
If we don't fill them up Colony, we will move it in, but so far we're completely full through Mariposa. So,
There won't be any booths across from the cook-off. So that's all taken, that'll be blank.
Cook-off?
Because I don't want any...
there's barbecue chicken vendors in front of the state park.
Okay. I didn't want to get into that, but I hope there's not another Indian thing at the same time, but...
Well, there's a Mexican Independence Day, that's the whole discussion we're having. We're kind of using lessons learned from the rib cook-off and the Indian Festival. We learned a lot about parking and a lot about wayfind signs, direction signs, collaboration, street closures. We learned a ton from all that dialogue, and we're trying to leverage that information to bring a ton more people into this town. So.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're working together and combining stuff, I think that's wonderful. There may be problems the first couple of years, but
Yeah.
we'll work it out.
Yeah.
All right?
So what do you need, a motion to
I need a motion on
amend?
3C. Consent item C.
You have to amend that resolution or what?
So, do we have to amend it, or?
We have to add 2nd Street, that block on 2nd Street.
So, so how do we, a resolution authorizing, how about something authorizing the city manager to, the closures to the discretion of the city manager?
Yeah. That gives you close to, if it doesn't fill up, you can bring it back, and you can use your judgment.
2nd and 3rd Street, so.
And then Jolene,
How do we-
you can work with me on that, and if it looks like it's not filling up, you and I can work together. You can give me your input on what to,
Well, that's the only input I have, and it sounds like you're wanting to start it down at that end of town rather than the other end.
yeah, they've,
Because that's what people always want to be, and that's where
Yeah.
I know that we've historically had some problems.
right.
But if you can make it work, that's great. I mean, I love to see people working together.
Well, excuse me, that's why I didn't advertise for
Wait,
food booths.
wait.
The purpose of this is for the...
Don't say that again.
all
Mayor.
merchants of San
Yeah,
Juan.
okay, if we're done with the public comment on the chicken thing.
That was
I need a motion.
Do we need to write this up?
Just add to the resolution
Okay.
that you're giving the city manager.
I move that we pass a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing street closures on 1st and 2nd Streets at the discretion of the city manager on Sunday, September 16th from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. for a chicken festival and for a celebration of Mexican Independence Day.
I would say 2nd and 3rd. Correction, 3rd Street.
2nd and 3rd, pardon me, 2nd and 3rd Streets.
I'll second that.
Dates
All
and
right,
time.
we have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. 4-0. All right, now we need to put the wording. We need to add this to the agenda as an emergency item.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I need a vote of all 4 council members to add an emergency item to the agenda. It just came to the city's attention on Friday after the agenda was posted that the county register wanted us to add a word to the ballot language, and so that, and it's needed to be done before the next regular council meeting, so it's appropriate for an emergency. But I do need you to vote on it, and I need all 4 votes to put put it on the agenda.
Okay.
We can add it to the end of the agenda.
Do public comment for this?
No, you do not.
All right.
Add it to the agenda as 5E.
5E.
I move that we add this item to the agenda as item 5E.
I'll second it.
Is that 4E?
She said 5E.
Yeah, she said, yeah.
It's fine. Doesn't matter
Okay.
where. Well, it's an action item,
Yes.
All right.
so it should be 5.
I got a second?
Yep, I seconded it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have 4 votes.
Now, what do we have to pass this?
Yes, just,
Well-
we're on to 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on 4, so we'll start at 4A.
Okay, 4A, proclamation honoring Jacob's Heart. Wait a second, I gotta get it here. Yeah, okay. This is a proclamation honoring Jacob's Heart's Children's Cancer Support Services and a declaration of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas each day 42 children in the United States are diagnosed with cancer, and more than 40,000 children undergo treatment for cancer each year, and whereas cancer remains the leading cause of death by disease among children, more than asthma, diabetes, citrus fibrosis, congenital abnormalities, and AIDS combined, whereas the families of children with cancer in the city of San Juan Bautista receive services from Jacob's Heart Children's Center Support Service, a local organization that has gained national awards and recognition for improving the quality of life for hundreds of local children with cancer and thousands of family members. And whereas Jacob's Heart holds the memories and honors the legacy of children, of hundreds of children from our local community have been lost to cancer, ensuring that their precious memories will never be forgotten. And whereas ongoing, the oncology department of Lucy Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford has worked closely with Jacob's Heart for the past 19 years as a trusted community partner in providing family-centered care that addresses the emotional, practical, and financial struggles of families of children with cancer in San Bautista. And whereas it is important for all San Juan Bautista residents to recognize the impact of children's cancer on families within the community and honor the lives of children in the community who have lost, were cut short by cancer. And now, therefore, I, Jim West, Mayor of the City of San Juan Bautista, do hereby declare September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the City of San Juan Bautista, and do hereby honor Jacob's Heart's Children's Cancer Support Services for 19 years of outstanding support to our community, and acknowledging the organization's contribution to Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, honoring the children with cancer in our community.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll see that they get the proclamation.
All right, thank you. All right. And who- Okay. Treasurer's report.
I don't see Mr. Geiger.
I don't either. So it's all in here?
He said he's going to be here at 7:30, but maybe we can change it on the agenda.
You want to move it on the agenda?
Come back to it.
Pardon?
Come back to it.
Okay,
If he arrives.
We can come back to it.
Okay.
All right, then we have city manager's report.
Okay. So I'll just walk through this because I summarized it quite a bit, so it shouldn't take too long. So we brought the city planner in-house. So we, by doing so, Trish was key in this. We negotiated a salary which is relative to the contract salary that he was getting. We're saving significant money there, 62% in fact. So that's a great win for the city, and we did a full survey in terms of his of the support for his coming in full-time, and we got 100% support for that. So we're happy that he's on board. So we also negotiated a rate decrease for code enforcement and the permit tech of 15%. So that's also saving the city quite a bit of money. And this is above and beyond our budget forecast for these two roles. So we're we're in good shape there. We had one Public Works employee resign, currently not backfilling, but we're keeping a close eye on that. We're leaving it open for potential backfill. We have a lot of projects, as you guys know, this year, capital projects, and our work orders are pretty high this year, so we may need to backfill him, but currently they're managing. The water system, so Bracewell, I actually gave notice to the city that they are going to end their contract with the city, and the city's going out to bid for the wastewater and water operations contract. We are currently assessing whether we can bring the water system operations fully internally, which would save quite a bit of money. We currently pay Bracewell $50,000 just to do the water testing, and for some of their expertise relative to...
Can I ask, does that include the lab fees?
Yes, it does include the lab fees. It does. That's including the lab fees.
We test monthly for 3 wells or 4?
We test for 2 currently.
2 currently.
Yeah, and we do...
50,000 is an awful, there's a lot of profit there. But
Agreed.
All the testing labs that I know of in the Bay Area have couriers. They'll come to you and pick up the sample.
Right.
You know, you don't have to just take it.
That's a good point, Councilman Freeman. So I also started a discussion with Monterey Bay Analytics, and we are setting up a courier service for them. They do Aromas water company.
Yeah, Dave Holland, he owns it. I know him very well.
Right.
Yeah.
So he and I have been talking quite a bit, and when we either bring it in-house or hire a different tester, we're going to have Monterey Bay Analytics do the testing, and they'll pick it up every Monday along their route with Aromas. So we're in good shape there. So this is going to bring significant savings to the city. I'm anticipating that'll be $30,000 a year savings. Moving on to sewer, we had a complaint about sewer smell on First Street, so we'll purge the lines on First Street. Evidently, there's a low spot on First Street and North Street with the sewer. It kind of flattens out there, and occasionally you gotta purge that. So we did that. The sludge removal bid is going out in August. Patrick put that out to bid this month. The wastewater treatment plant operations also going out to bid this month. The chloride salt compliance order resolution, we're working with the San Benito Water District very closely these days. Had several meetings with them, worked through the numbers to build the pipeline that we've been talking about, the surface water treated surface water pipeline from the West Hills plant into San Juan, and it's penciling out that we would be break even. I was very concerned that we would not be able to be break even because they would take too much profit. That, along with the debt that we have to repay, we wouldn't be able to make the numbers work out. But the first draft of the numbers between myself and Catano look really good. So it looks like that's quite a feasible option. There's another option that we're exploring, and that's a good deep well out by Bettabell, between Bettabell and the 129. There's some land that an owner is developing for an entrance welcome center for San Benito County. He's also considering making that water available to the city and taking and selling the water to the city, building a pipeline to the city, and then so we're looking at a business arrangement with him and the San Benito Water District. San Benito Water District's very interested in that solution because they think that aquifer is one of the healthiest and has the most volume in the county, and it hasn't been explored very much. So they're very
Edible road.
correct. They're very, very interested in partnering on that. The way it looks now, they'd probably be the majority owner of that well, and then they'd have the partner with the landowner, and then the city would be a customer and a beneficiary of that arrangement. So that's the other one. That arrangement would actually be a little bit less expensive than the surface water coming out of West Hills, but both are super early on. We're just starting the business cases and the financial analysis of those.
Can I interrupt here?
Sure.
Have they done any testing on the water as to chemistry?
No.
I would like to see a calcium carbonate hardness parts per million, and if it's over 100, forget it. I mean,
Right.
it's not going to help us out.
Yeah, agreed. So the first step on that, exploring the well out at the Pettibel, is a pilot well. So we can look at the water and test the water. So that's in the works. So that's around the chloride salt issue. Any other questions on that?
I just want to remind you that we got burned by McAlpine. There's a really good well there that we were supposed to get part of it, and us and Four Leaf got,
Four-leaf?
well, natural selection. I mean, contributed money to it and never got anything out of it.
Oh.
But that, like I say, the aquifer is really good.
Well, this one I think is even better because it's right next to the Pajaro River, which evidently hasn't been tapped
I'm kind of
into.
surprised they're letting them do anything there.
Well, he owns the land.
Yeah, I know, but
The water district?
no, whoever controls the river, what goes into the river. That was, there was talk of putting a truck stop there at one time, but it's too
The CEQA stuff?
close to the river.
Yeah, that's, I don't know how far along they are in the planning, but that's just another option that we're exploring.
I don't know if it's a truck stop, but from what I understand, it's a large gas station and restaurant.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like a pilot or something like that.
That's what
Because, I mean, you
that's
go
what's
by
planned
there.
for out there.
Yeah, it was described as a,
Casa de Fruta.
Casa de Fruta, to be along those lines.
All right.
That's the vision, I think.
So next category is water. We continue to hear the red or tinged water complaints, the discoloration. That's a symptom of the iron manganese at well 5. Well 5 is a really great producer, so we've been relying on that, and we need to do more blending of well 1 to keep that in check. The water district is, DEW is very familiar with this. We've been in discussions. There's no safety issues here. The city, we were approved for an iron manganese plant in the spring. I've been in contact with the vendor. We are putting our plans together to get that in place. The coke well is coming online as well, which has much, much lower iron and manganese. We were hoping the coke well would be online much earlier than this so that we wouldn't have having to rely on well 5 as much. But between getting the treatment online as well as getting well 6 online as well as running well 1 more, we should see the color issue subside substantially.
So you've been getting these complaints. Have you been testing water from different?
We did along 5th Street in July, I believe it was, mid-July.
There weren't safety issues?
No.
The water was compliant with all the government
Correct.
regulatory? Okay.
Upper levels and safety issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just not pleasant?
There is no MCL for iron, which is maximum contaminant level.
Okay.
But it looks ugly.
Right, okay.
Can we go back to one thing, the pipelines
Sure.
of water? I suggested to you the other day that we could possibly put a sewer line in that same trench.
Oh, good point. I'm glad you brought that back up. Around the sewer, so that is feasible, and it's probably a really smart thing to do. It's got to be 10 feet lower than the water line. We have to go
10
through.
feet?
10 feet?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, so,
I thought it was only like a foot and a half or something.
no.
Wow.
It's got to, yeah, and you have to use special material and so forth. But it is feasible, and it would be a very smart thing to do. I mean, 20, 30 years down the road, this town is going to outgrow that sewer plant. Right now, we can double the capacity of the sewer plant. The town can grow to 5,000, 6,000 people. So it's not a concern within the next 10 years or so, but it certainly wouldn't be a bad thing to do while you have that road opening, that easement there.
And it also, we wouldn't have to contract out with Bracewell or whoever the new person is, and it would just save a lot of, Public Works could take care of the pumps or lift stations and things like that.
Yeah.
That was one thing I was there used to be a lift station on First, right about, I want to say it was across from, right by this, between the first and second stop signs. Somewhere in there was a dip and there was a lift station there. Is that gone?
Yeah, my understanding is now it's gravity fed. I don't know if when they did the improvements on, because there was a big First Street improvement a while back, I want to say 10 or 15 years ago. And so now that's all gravity fed. There's only one lift station over there in that area, and it's in the new development, Creek Bridge. Everything else is gravity
maybe
fed.
that took place of the one that used to be on First Street.
And they tried to grade that to have enough drop to handle that. However, I know that area, and I know you do too, John, so occasionally we do get some
issues,
complaints there. So it's just a slow gradual decline.
The pipeline,
The sewer pipeline?
either one, water, sewer, I keep hearing about an easement.
Yeah, the San Benito Water District has an easement on the north side of the 156 currently.
And how is that going to, have there been discussion about the relocation of 156 and how that's going to be affecting that easement? Is that?
It's going the other way.
It's the other side of, it's on the west side of 156, the easement and the pipeline.
You mean the north?
Well,
The north.
Northwest. Yeah, so Jeff Catano is super familiar with that whole area because, he's very concerned with that.
So, there's already a substantial pipeline bringing untreated blue valve water, and it moves through San Juan Bautista, and it goes out basically at Anzar High, and that's used for groundwater recharge and things like that. So there's a pipe already there on that easement.
Got it.
So if Caltrans is going to come in and mess with it, they've got to mess with that line, then maybe two others or.
no, they're going to be over.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just agreeing with
So
you.
it's
Don't mention Caltrans.
Yeah, Jeff's super connected in that project.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I'm
But
glad
that's
you're
a good
working with the
question.
water district though, because
Yeah.
there is a history of
I
us not
know,
working with the
it's
water
great.
district.
Jeff's been
So
fantastic to work with.
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Let's see here. So we talked about the discoloration. Unfortunately, this timing with well 6 expedited the need for the iron manganese. We were planning on doing that in the fall. I got to really pull that in. So that's kind of what the issue, the root cause of how we ran into the red colored issue. Telemetry is up and running in September, so this is going to save, I think it's going to save around 10 hours a week, public works time, checking, resetting, and it's also going to be a public service transparency issue. People will be able to go on the website, see the level of the tank, see the quality of the water, the flow rates, the static water levels, all the information around the water that they're paying for. It'll be on the website. It'll also be in City Hall on a display. So I think that'll really help people have a better understanding of the tests. The test results will be on there. It's just like a water information center. So that's exciting. We'd like to see people use their time more for more valuable stuff.
How are you doing with PG&E hooking up well 5?
It's terrible. Just terrible. So, Eric, why don't you talk about PG&E? Could you speak a little bit about PG&E at well 5, please? Thank you.
That's the answer to Jolene's question about the generator.
That's a good question.
Mayor, members of the council, I'm Eric Sly with Eden Bridge Homes, Director of Planning. PG&E has subbed the Rule 20 work, which is the work that needs to get done to energize well 5 to Cupertino Electric because their staff is busy up in the North Bay dealing with the North Bay fires. Cupertino Electric is scheduled to begin setting the new poles, which will allow the undergrounding of the existing poles on the site that cross Highway 156 and also to energize the Old City Well number 2 on Monday. So that's when that work will start. We've been told, however, that the completion of that work and the energizing of the system that will provide the permanent power to well 5 is going to occur in December. So we are one step at a time pushing PG&E. First we get the poles in, then we bring our system to the poles with our contractor, CTEC Underground, which should be very speedy. Then PG&E schedules the energizing work, and as I understand it, the delay is because the number of man hours involved in a job of this size for PG&E means that they need to divert quite a few people to the effort, and that means that they can't do it with a small crew, and can't do it quickly. But as soon as we have those poles set by PG&E, we will be pressing them to be improving our energizing date. And PG&E is well aware, both at the project manager level and also at the regional service planning level, that the energizing of the new city well is dependent upon PG&E completing that work. And unfortunately, it's work that PG&E has to complete because it involves work on energized existing PG&E facilities. We cannot do it with our contractors.
Can I ask, is PG&E paying Cupertino Electric?
As far as I understand it, yes. I mean, we did not request, obviously, that PG&E sub the work. That was their choice. They didn't consult us on it. As far as the contracts for the work that PG&E is performing, those have been paid since September of 2017. So we've just been waiting for them to get to us.
Cupertino is just putting in the poles, basically.
That's the first piece of the work. I don't know if they're the ones that are actually going to then intercept the overhead coming across Highway 156 and then dropping it down the poles and into the system for the subdivision that's been built so that we can power well 5, or if that's going to be a separate PG&E crew that's going to do that work after the poles are set. I know the poles are sitting on the job because they were delivered on Sunday. And we're waiting for them to put them up.
But the energizing piece you were talking about that PG&E has to do, that's not something they would contract with Cupertino, or they might contract with Cupertino, or we don't know.
That would be a better question for PG&E, but I know that historically, if that's work that PG&E has to do that a private developer can't do because it's the hot tie-in of the system involves the shutdown and work on currently live PG&E facilities. Okay. Sometimes they may sub that work to what they consider to be qualified subcontractors when they get busy. I just don't know how they do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, the well 6 agreement, I know I always say this, but we're in the final of this thing. And
Credibility's down here right now, you know.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I know. But, yeah, we've done a lot of work on this.
No kidding.
We've done a lot of work on this, a lot of hours. So it's actually sitting with, Deb found a couple things today. Dale and I have been working on it for the last 2 weeks. Deb's been on vacation last week. I sent it to her. She found a couple things that we need to, check and bring over inconsistencies in the document. So we're going to actually work on that after this meeting. And we already met with, the bid got awarded. The sub has been identified. We've already had our first construction meeting. It looks like it's pretty straightforward in terms of the construction. I've been working with the water district. So all that stuff's lined up. It's just a matter of completing the language, and we've got all the parcel stuff squared away, the legal descriptions of the properties. We pulled out the sewer lift station as a separate parcel. That's actually why it took, instead of having it as an easement, we actually own that little 50-foot square foot section. So we've got it really detailed out. So we're happy with where it's at. We apologize that it's taken this long, but we've had 3 people go on vacation. Thank God it hasn't been me, but between Dale's attorney, and then Deb, that put us back a little bit. All right, but we do anticipate I'll stay behind by the end of September that we'll be up and running. I know Eric's very interested in that. Now on to fire, Harvey's lockup. So really great progress with Harvey's lockup all the way around. You guys have seen the work on the back of the property, putting the street improvements in, the sidewalk and the walkway. They are also working on getting that whole thing alarmed so that we've met with the fire inspector, the owner, got them in a really healthy dialogue. It was very strained before. We got the alarm system integrated into the plan. So everybody's super happy with how Harvey's lockup's progressing. Copperleaf, they didn't have adequate fire hydrants charged. The root cause of this is the PG&E issue. We had a workaround, but due to the high fire potential, and now we have a lot of wood out there, and with the canyon right next to it, the fire inspector decided we need to get higher volume and more outputs for fire out there. So I know that Edenbridge is working on getting that corrected, and so it's unfortunate, but we had to shut that down this past week, or I didn't, but the fire inspector did. Law enforcement, so in next staff report, or next city council, you guys should see a new San Benito Sheriff contract come out. We've aligned on having a dedicated officer here, using a substation out of City Hall, using this vehicle here. So that's all good news, and that's going to be dependent, of course, on their staffing as well. Right now, they've got hit with a couple injuries, and so they're strained for labor, but that's the commitment I've got out of the Sheriff's Department. So really good progress working on that with them. Code enforcement, Casa Rosa, everybody's aware it's been reg tagged. We shut down the sidewalk because we did get one of the general contractors made an alarm or highlighted the risks there. I felt compelled to shut that sidewalk down and also get people away from the door. There was a lot of people looking in the doors, standing on the stoop. There was also this threat of people stealing bricks from the back, so I just made a command decision to shut the quarantine out off the front. I have 2 structural engineers that I'm talking to right now to do the assessment and give us a estimate on the cost to make that secure. If it needs to be secure, they may come back and say, hey, it's perfectly fine the way that they've got it. But I need to get that in writing from a structural engineer. And then once, if they do come back and they say, hey, it's going to cost you $20,000 to get this secure and safe, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to come with a, I think it's a resolution to put an abatement order against that property. And the process then is that we put that money aside to address the property, and we'd also notify the state treasurer or tax person, and then that property would get a lien with that abatement cost. So that's the track that we're going on with the Casa Rosa. The owner of the property we told him he violated 9 compliance or 9 codes, ordinances, state, federal, and city ordinances. I actually need to get with Deb to write a formal letter to him enforcing that. So the fines are going to be in the neighborhood of $45,000 to $50,000 total. And that'll likely go get assessed against the property as well.
One last note on that.
Yeah.
All those bricks are on my property, so I didn't steal them, they put them there.
So that was fake news, I guess, huh? It was all over Facebook. Fake news. Okay.
Stealing bricks, man, I'm there.
Code enforcement, code enforcement's been out, really good network of people, by the way, in terms of code issues. So the city is becoming more and more involved with code enforcement and City Hall, and people are being super compliant and just going through the learning curve of what needs to have a permit, and there hasn't been any conflicts or hard feelings, but we are getting more and more people in to get their permits, including the Basque Restaurant pulled 2 or 3 permits, a bunch of Rudy roofs. So this is all great news. And, we're educating them on the benefits of getting permits and having these inspections and making their home more valuable and safer.
You tell me that people didn't know they needed permits to do work on their property?
They claim that, but hey, I'm naive and I give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
You're nice.
I hope that's niceness and not pure naiveness, but... So the other one is $1,000 fines for truckers going through town. I did a whole sign assessment around that. Each of the entrances, except for the one coming from Hollister, has at least 3 warnings. This entrance over here has like 5 warnings, including the Prescott entrance. There are a lot of warnings. So I put the whole process of how residents can take pictures, sign as a witness, and we've been giving $1,000 violations. We've given 3 or 4 so far, and we're going to continue to do that. I'm going to order signs to go on the current signs. It says $1,000 minimum charge, as well as GPS is not an excuse. So that's what's going on with the signage. Because that's the excuse I keep hearing. The GPS sent me this way.
If I might make a suggestion, coming on Prescott where it tees into 129 or the road there isn't a sign there.
Yeah, there is. You better check it out.
Okay.
I just went out and I spent about an hour and a half assessing these signs.
Well,
and I have a map with all the signs on it.
A week or 2 there wasn't a sign there.
I'll bet you $5 there is a sign there.
Okay, there was a sign there.
But I was going to suggest that it say right turn only, 101 that way.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Let's do that.
Well, we tried to get natural selection to put one on their driveway coming out, that go to 101, don't come into town.
Yeah. That would be good
Or no left turn allowed or something, I don't know, but.
Because I've seen them come in off of Prescott and make a left turn there and come down and then they get stuck or,
You wait until we get our roundabout in there. That's good.
Put a low bar across there.
All right, that's on the truck. So moving on to community development. Planning and building have a pretty robust report. I'm not going to get into details there. However, I will get into a little bit of Parks and Rec. So pickleball, this whole pickleball craze is really driving.
We're missing pickleball now, aren't we?
I am. Yeah, are you going to start doing it?
change the meeting days?
No. Oh, God. We're going to change city council because of pickleball night. Oh, that's funny.
Did you have was it this weekend? I mentioned it, Chris.
Yeah, we had a lot of
cars parked there.
Oh, yeah. We had a clinic. Every Saturday, there's a beginner's clinic there. And we're getting a ton of people come out. And then, so it's Saturdays and
Better name
Tuesdays.
for it than pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of silly. It is kind of silly. So anyway, but so it's driving momentum and collaboration with the school, because the school owns the tennis court, the school owns the field, the school owns the bathrooms, the school owns the parking lot. So I have a meeting set up with the school superintendent and the facilities guy next week, and we're going to go through and my vision is that, with, of course, everybody's input and to spruce that up a bit. That entranceway doesn't represent the town very well with the modulars and the way that the bathrooms are, and it needs to be cleaned up a little bit and make that more of a recreation headquarters there. People can check out equipment, pickleball paddles, and soccer balls and things like that. Get people out in playing and active. So there'll be a whole staff report on that, and then that will go through probably strategic planning or something of that nature. The Parks Planning Committee. But just wanted to give you a feel for what's going on with the school and the collaboration there. Park survey, early indicators showed that the number 1 is dog park, 2 is trails, 3 is swimming pool. But they're going to come back and let you guys know what the recommendations are. Public Works also has a staff report. I won't go into detail. We have a work order. Any request to Public Works has to go through a work order system. I've got those guys completely packed with daily chore maintenance, sustaining maintenance, plus work orders, plus capital projects, plus their training. We need to get those guys better trained. So their plates are full. No, please, I'm just kind of going on record, please no just drive-bys, hey, can you go fix this, can you go fix that? It has to go through work order system.
Tony?
If you have a request, complaint, everything has to go through work order system. And they're committing to, we're negotiating it, but it's looking like for urgent within 6 hours, for highs within 2 days, for mediums within 5 days, and for the lows within 2 weeks. So those things, and they're giving ETAs, and Carmen's calling people and letting them know when their requests are being addressed. So it's a closed loop process, but we've got to keep working the process. The team is just some of the highlights. The new bathroom, in fact, Armando's here. He was spearheading the new bathroom in City Hall, which is fantastic. It gives the women in City Hall a separate place to go to the bathroom. It's in the back there. Franklin Park, the little park that we approved, they did the grading there. They moved the dirt over to Ted Tomey's lot here. So Ted is now getting more engaged with the city, hoping to use his lot for a farmer's market eventually. So we're trying to help him get his lot more level so it's more usable. That's the corner lot on 3rd and McCollum. The grass, I don't know if you noticed, ballpark looks great. City Hall looks a lot better than it did. We're getting there with the library. Still a ways to go on the library, but getting there. And that's thanks to Mano. Electric gate, we're putting electric gate in corporate yard. It's been, when they could squeeze that project in amongst all the other priorities. I know it looks like
the sidewalks closed.
Correct. And what that'll do is it'll improve the flow of so that they don't have to back up. It'll probably save a couple hours a week of having to renegotiate all the cars and so forth. So that's a great efficiency for the team. They've crack sealed the Creek Bridge, striping, they've done some striping and curb painting. So that is the city manager's report.
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
I saw they were watering the ballpark the
Yes.
other day.
Yeah.
Has any progress been made on us being able to use recycled water yet?
Other than no progress to be able to use it, honestly, it's because the water, the effluent is too salty to even use in the groundwater applications.
Okay.
Between that and the monitoring required, because you are using effluent, it's an overhead that we weren't ready to take on this year. So that's the extent of it. We need to fix the saltwater problem first, then we'll be able to use that recycled water. Let's see, we've got...
Full for you out there.
Well, you know, I spent a lot of money out there and you know, I can't use it. On the cemetery, I'm talking.
It's terrible. But we'll get there, Tony, maybe in about a year and a half, once we get the salt. Well, it's going to be
I'm
longer
going to
than
hang in there
that.
for a couple more years.
Yeah. All right. Are we doing public comment on the...
Yeah, do you need public comment on the city manager report?
Yes, I have Julie Cozia.
Wow, that was an excellent report, Michelle, and we in the city certainly appreciate all the hard work that you're doing, trying to fix new problems and fix old problems that have been there a long time. Everything from working with Jeff Catano. I think when Steve Julian was city manager, he pretty well ruined any relationship we had with the water district.
Yeah, we
and
call that in the soup.
That hired him. And it just kind of continued from there. And he's, in the past, before that, had been very useful to the city, and it looks like he will be again, which is wonderful, because that's his job, part of it. And Tony, on the pickleball, I had an online business called Pickle Sports Cards and Collectibles, so I love the name.
Yeah.
Different
Well,
kind of pickles.
okay, there's two bad choices.
Well, this business, I was continuing to try to get rid of baseball cards and basketball and everything else. Anyway, on the PG&E issue, it sounds like my question about why power hasn't gotten to the well yet is somewhat answered, because we can't use the old power that was there. Because I kept wondering, well, why is it so hard to hook up? We had power to the old well.
Right.
It's because they need more power, and they need to bring it from across the highway. So it's really the development that is holding up that well in a way, because they need a whole lot more power than we had from our little pole and our little well previously. I wanted to ask about the hiring the planner. You know, great kid. Hopefully he's going to learn what he needs to know to do the job. But my question is, there used to be a community development director position. And I'm just curious why we didn't ask for resumes and try to fill that position rather than just hiring in-house. That's my only question on that. And then the cost comparison of having our own generator. I guess the one we have is not EPA compliant except for an emergency, and so it can't be used out there, and I don't know what a generator would cost, but if we're going to have that generator for a long time, I'm still curious about the cost of renting it, the cost of the diesel, because the guys have to go pick it up and bring it in and all that. So I think that covers the questions I had, along with all the great things you're doing.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So the diesel, it's just unfortunate that we don't have a diesel station here. So that's a
the cost.
yeah.
Do you know what it's running?
Oh, no, but we can get you that. We get the bills. Yeah, just ask for the bills if you'd like. The generator is rented from Majora, who drilled the well, and they're giving us a cost rate. So they're giving us a really great price on that generator. I actually renegotiated the price and cut it in half when I came on because of this. Also we've escalated the issue with the government arm of PG&E, because it is a burden to our residents, our taxpayers here in town. It's a drain that we're kind of a victim of this, hemorrhaging this money with this diesel, the generator, the labor time, going back and forth. So we're well aware of it. It's been pushed and escalated very hard. Eric's been key to that. And you understand the reason it doesn't have power. On the planner, so I've been doing the community development basically. And that's a very nuanced role. You really have to know the community. You have to really be embedded in the community. And frankly, we need arms and legs to get stuff done right now. So having a low-level associate planner to run things down, to work with the state, to get just more gopher taskmaster type stuff is key for me right now, because I cannot do that. But I can do the strategy work, I can integrate, I can do the high-level planning, like with the school, like all the strategic work I'm talking about with the mission, the school, getting people on board with, building permits, educating the population about all this stuff. That's all part of community development. The recreation stuff, the library. So I think that I'm a natural fit just because I've been here so long and I have that ability to integrate different silos in the community. And that's extremely expensive. If you thought I was expensive, we were paying I think we were paying $150 an hour for the previous community development director.
Not the salaried one that we had before.
Correct, but the salary one was expensive too. So the city really needs grunt workers right now on the ground. That's why we have a permit tech. That's why we have a code enforcement. So I don't have to answer every single one of those calls. So
Actually, that was a little bit of my concern, that you're making more work for yourself by not having community development.
No, because the heavy lifting is making those calls, filling out those forms, doing all that. I can delegate and say, okay, connect these two people. They have to fill out that form or that application. So, not in my opinion. I think that it's more important to have people that are actually doing the daily tasks at hand, or your strategic thinking cannot happen.
It's just that we don't have that person who has the minimum master's degree in planning that is useful to have, but I guess you have consultants that you can go to.
And we have a planning commission with former planners, and we have a planner in the community. We have a master planner in the community. We can leverage those volunteers. And we have. And one thing Todd does is he bugs people about their expertise. Ask Deb. He will go out and just bug the heck out of people in the state, historic society,
He
architect.
gets the answers he needs.
He does, and now I don't have to pay an hourly wage for him to go do that. He can do it all in his off time and.
It's a salary position.
Right.
Okay.
No, it's not a salary position, but it's capped.
Oh.
You had one other question that I didn't answer?
The cost comparison of buying an actual generator that we could use, I guess,
Okay.
the rest of it was complimentary.
Surprisingly, buying a generator takes a lot of time, especially that big of a generator. And we absolutely needed a backup generator for the wastewater treatment plant as well. But getting the right specifications and so forth, it takes a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, and then California will change the rules in 2 years.
Right, it was a big deal getting the one that we had, and it's only for, police, fire, emergency, whatever, we have an earthquake.
My understanding, that was not a huge deal. It was just a giveaway. Somebody gave us that generator.
Yeah, we got
The one that's,
government service.
yeah, the one, that didn't, no, get the right specs on the generator to run a wastewater treatment plant and to do that type of thing, takes a lot of thinking. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Go on to, I can do this. That's
Community Facilities District.
Yes.
Oh, no,
So we're
construction
gonna
report.
skip engineers and public works?
My bad,
No,
construction
yeah, we're
report.
Yeah.
4D.
The construction report.
Can you hit the highlights?
I'll help you. Don't worry.
Stand up. Evening, Mayor, council members, Patrick Dobbin, city engineer. They continue to make progress out on the Rancho Vista project. They've been working on the bridge, some of the sidewalks, pathways, building the homes. Other than that, well, let's see, I guess the other work they've been doing is on Donner, lots 81 through 85, which is across from the entrance to the wastewater treatment plant. That'll involve a new driveway into the wastewater treatment plant, so that's fairly recent work too. Other than that, I guess for the sake of time, I don't have any other updates beyond what's in this two-page report. Copperleaf, building homes too, but they put in the infrastructure before.
Are they slowed down because of the lack of hoses, or are you still going full blast?
We've been, sorry. Eric with Edenbridge Homes again. We've been shut down this week because the fire department changed their mind about the temporary hydrant system that we had installed out there and wanted us to pressurize the hydrants inside the track, which we are doing, and we expect to have completed by the end of this week.
Okay.
Good.
That's good. Let's go.
We had a water line break, over by the wastewater treatment plant. So, I don't know, Mondo, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Fresh water or sewer line?
Drinking water.
Armando News, Public Works. Yeah, one of the guys that was working on the road going out there, he clipped their line, and because it's unmarked and there's no tracer wire, so we were trying to trace that line back to where it originates from, but there's nothing in the plans. We've gone through so many different plans and we can't find it. So we're potholing right now to try to see where we can cap it off, because the new subdivision is going to go in. If we just cap it off where it's at, they're going to run into the same problem. But Joe's having us right now trying to figure something out, and Patrick was helping me today with the plans, trying to find something, but we're just going to have to pothole it for now.
Was the line broken because of the heavyweight trucks, or?
No, it was just
those are clipped.
It was unmarked and not on any plans. They also clipped the what is it?
Fiber optic.
Fiber optic.
Going to wastewater
Yeah.
communications.
It wasn't fun. I mean, we didn't have any just regular 2-inch PVC pipe out there, so we had to use some purple pipe, some reclaimed water pipe. One of the guys that's part of the construction crew, he was videotaping it, but it was a clean pipe, and I just tried to stop the leak because the water was starting to go into the creek. We just needed to stop the leak. That's where we're at.
So, yeah, that's a symptom of lack of documentation on some of these lines. We looked everywhere for those lines, and the guys have been working really hard to now identify it. So that was a big highlight for construction.
We're going to, where the hell? We did monthly construction progress report, we did that. Community development report.
I'll just let you guys read that, unless you have any key questions.
No.
We talked about Casa Rosa, talked about Harvey's lockup, talked about the subdivisions. They're pretty detailed on this report.
Anybody have any questions on that?
No, sir.
Okay, what happened here, John?
Pardon?
Did it run out of time?
No, mine went dim too, so.
Hey, mine.
There it goes. There we go. We turned it sideways to get a better look.
I can't read that way. Oh, yeah.
Well, so we're all operating on tablets for the first time today.
Yeah.
And so we're all.
And we're not that bright.
Yeah. Old dogs, new
It's
trick.
saving $6,000 a year, by the way.
But yeah, huge cost savings.
Yeah,
in
printing and
labor.
labor, about $6,000 a year.
So,
And it's amusing to watch us probably.
Yes,
As we fiddle with these
Well,
things and muddle through, which way do I swipe?
yeah.
So I was kind of lucky, I already owned exactly one of these tablets, so
Are they working pretty well?
Yes.
Just
Yeah,
do a check-in?
they're fine.
Nice work, Will.
It's operator error.
Okay, then we got the city engineers report. Now, this is, again, very robust report, talks about the re-roof, talks about sludge removal, streets. Some of it doesn't change from week to week, but you do want to look at that and check things out. We're doing a tank inspection. So the big tank inspection. You want to talk to
Yeah, just a
couple of highlights?
Let's see, so Michelle talked about the sludge removal contract, that's out to bid. One of your past questions, Councilmember, is project walks, pre-bid walks. We're having a walk for the sludge removal on Tuesday. We're out to bid with the contract wastewater operator, since wastewater gave notice, and we have a job walk on that next Thursday. But Michelle started talking about the tank inspection. So we don't know when the 1.3 million gallon tank, if it's ever been inspected. It was built, as you probably know, 8 or 9 years ago. The rule of thumb is to have it inspected every 5 to 7 years. And yes, we saw somebody this Friday. There will be a couple divers actually jumping in to do an inspection, cleaning, and video. That's a $4,400 effort, but well worth it. We actually had a little bit of experience in the city of Soledad a year or two ago when I jumped in and did an inspection, and it was not what they did not. They found a lot of issues with the tank, just to say it. So these are important things. That's the only stories that this city has. It is important to jump in, and that's something every 5 to 7 years. That's happening this Friday. That is one of the highlights I wanted to mention, and yes, I have some other reports later in the agenda. Open for questions.
We have questions?
No, sir.
This is so much better than what we had before.
Are they going to be able to like clean any fill or anything out of it, or just they're just like we're just going to inspect it for now?
They're inspecting and cleaning.
Okay.
So yes.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
This is so much better than the open reservoir with the roof over it.
With the dead birds.
Peter used to come clean the dead rats out of it and stuff.
Then you better go
Once a year.
Better go home and have a drink. All right. Where are we on this thing?
Public Works, G.
Public Works report, G.
We didn't really put a report
There wasn't
in
anything in
because
there.
we felt a lot of it was in your report. Right. Then have a written public report.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, nice.
Except for what's in Michelle's report.
So that's H.
Report from City
Down H.
Council.
I got it. Just
Here, read the printed one.
I got it. Put this on it and lean it on it. Okay, report from City Council appointed to regional organizations and committees. I'm going to start with you, John, as I always do.
Okay, so the Water Resources Board did not meet this month, and AMBAG did meet this month, and we discussed things. I just got an email. You're going to be really pleased or upset, Tony. Get ready for it. At the City of Gonzales on September 9th at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, the bosses of Caltrans are going to hold a public forum. That would be the CTC, California Transportation Commission. They're the bosses of Caltrans. They're going to hold a forum there about any suggestions, complaints.
When is that?
September 9th at 1 p.m. City of Gonzales.
I wonder why they didn't tell us that at COG.
What?
I don't believe it's the 9th.
19th, I'm sorry. You're right, 19th. I apologize.
Are you going?
What?
Are you going to go?
I haven't figured it out yet, but I might be able to.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't tell us that at COG.
They don't want you to show up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised they didn't tell you that at COG.
Anyway, they're having an information thing at 1 p.m., a reception at the bar across the street at 4. I'll make that if I don't.
Jump poor.
If I don't get, anyway. I was just joking. AMBAG,
We've got a guy that does that work.
AMBAG, we did do some things on the 40-year master transportation plan, so that's it.
Okay.
All right, Councilman
All
Mabon.
right, now, the sales tax measure that we need to pass to fix our roads has been designated Measure D as in dog or whatever. Dollars, yeah. And it's hopefully will generate over 30 years, $485 million, and I think, and we get 4% of that. So I can't figure that out. It's 14 million, I think.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years, yeah. Is that right?
19.4 million.
19.4. Yeah, a few bucks off.
So that's about $650,000 a year.
Yeah. Which would go a long way in San Juan. Now, I'm just going to throw this in because it kind of, to me, was interesting that Caltrans actually, they're going to put a roundabout at the intersection of 156 and Highway 25. They've already got it.
Really?
The EIR is done, the design,
Right.
the design will be done in 2020. And construction will be finished in November of 2021. But the Caltrans has determined that's a very dangerous intersection, and apparently there's been a lot of accidents there. So, yeah, other than that, that's about it. In COG.
I haven't attended any meetings.
I haven't either. I was unable to make the LAFCO meeting. I asked alternative, but he couldn't make it.
Well, then there was no fire, or there was. Did you do the fire and you were out of town?
No, I talked with Mr. Botello and I said it was that it was an incredible waste of time until we had a contract. I don't know what we're doing there. It's some kind of verbal master. Well, it's just, No, I didn't go.
Yeah, I wasn't able to attend the intergovernmental or the fire, which are the same days.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Strategic Plan Committee.
Okay, so let me find my notes here. They did meet, and on Thursday, August 2nd, they discussed an emergency response plan. A lady named Anna Garcia, who had that job at Gavilan College, we're trying to update ours. Ours is the last revision or version of our present ER plan was done in, I think, 2003 or 2004, so it's been 15 or 16 years. It's time for an upgrade. So she's working on that. They also discussed public art I'm trying to remember if it was September or October. Mandisa and her friends are going to have a public art project. And then they're also discussing farmers markets and somehow they're going to do it. So that's what was, and also someone brought up that the business community would like to see door-to-door mail delivery. So the strategic plan is going to be working on that. Okay, you have to deal with the post office. I'd say good luck.
Second only to Caltrans.
Yeah. Not gonna happen.
All right.
Although there's people
We've got
out here who have
item 5, action items. A, authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract for City Hall re-roof project. Michelle.
Mayor, council members, so we've bid the City Hall roof repair twice, and no takers, no bids received. I met with Noble Pride Roofing on Friday. I figured, and as we spoke once before, contractors in this area are very, very busy. Another thing that Noble Pride Roofing said is, this is a very small project. They're out there doing $1 million projects, and this is pretty small stuff, and also somewhat labor intensive, taking the tiles off, storing them, doing all that work. So under this public contract code that's listed, that I don't know off the top of my head, but it's in your staff report, we have the ability to, with your council approval, negotiate directly with a contractor. It doesn't mean it has to be Noble Pride Roofing, but these are the people that prepared the inspection report. We've listed a dollar amount in here. When they put this inspection report together, basically totals on the order of, I believe, $80,000 to $85,000 worth of work, and that's this roof and the other roofs in this complex. Yes, we can make a decision to only do this roof, as a matter of fact, if we wanted to cut the cost. But we're seeking your approval, the dollar amount that's listed in here, to negotiate with the contractor. I'm definitely recommending Noble Pride. In talking with them on Friday, basically going to their shop and talking to the two partners, is they are about 6 to 8 weeks out. So so if we're going to do this before the onset of winter, time's somewhat bearing down on us. So that's what I'm seeking is, or we're recommending is to authorize the city manager for this approval of $75,000 plus $20,000 in contingency for a contractor.
Is there any estimate on the length of time to do the job?
Let's see, yes there is. It's on the order of 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. When we, let me back up and say maybe 4 to 6 weeks. We put in the bid 20 working days, which is 4 weeks, and they thought, okay, that's kind of tight, and they kind of complained about liquidated damages, and maybe at $2,000 a day, and I told them, well, we can work with all that. We really need to engage a contractor. So back to the answer is 4 at the quickest, 6 at the latest. They did, one of the caveats that they had is, weather dependent, and that was one of their complaints about using working days. I said, okay, a rain day is is not a working day. Okay, just to make it clear, if it rains, that's a zero work day.
They quit.
So yes, I would hope that we get this done before Thanksgiving, basically, and that's what I pushed on them. Is if we start in late October. So that's what I'm.
I wouldn't even worry about it then. There might be rainstorms, but anyway, we've all seen the water dripping onto the carpet, literally. I mean, something needs to be done really bad.
Blue tarps are not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, back to your comment, and they did say, while they're working on this, they will be protecting the roof. We will not be left exposed. But I'm also sensitive to, once they start, you have to finish. You can't, as a city hall, you can't leave us hanging out here with a half-built project. But they're very interested in this, just to be clear.
Chris?
This has been budgeted, correct? Michelle?
Yes.
So it's in the budget. This seems like a
So, does the 75 plus
20.
20, does that cover all of the roofs?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that includes the work in the inspection report. I would guess the one caveat I would have is, so that's, when they did their inspection report, and they did prepare based on prevailing wage, I'm waiting on a firm quote from them. So it is based on the inspection report they prepared 6 months ago. You have to look if material costs went up, labor costs have not gone up. But just to be clear, it should be on the order of what's in here, but I haven't seen the quote yet. I haven't just had it on Friday.
So the $49,000 was for this building, and like the other $40,000 was for the other building.
There were 3 other portions of roof work. That's correct.
And this is more expensive because of the tile. Those are just gravel roofs. So
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That's a lot of labor to take it off.
Stacking bucks.
No, it's not a tile. They will, one of the, I guess, interesting things is, the rule of thumb or whatever, but the basic set is probably taking these tile off, they'll lose on the order of 20% of them. Yes, they drove me around their yard, they showed me, we have tile on hand. We pick the stuff up, we're ready to do this, they fabricate everything, we'll have no subs. But yeah, there's some tile missing, and they'll be anticipating needing about 20% more time.
20% loss or breakage.
That's exactly right, yeah. You know the rest of the reasons why.
There used to be a big stack of tile in the city yard. When we had that.
We used a lot of it for the beautification of the wall at Eden Bridge.
Those old tiles.
It's a totally different tile.
Yeah, I thought so.
Wouldn't match, okay.
I'm just surprised you got a roofing contractor.
Yeah, that's
up in
what amazes me.
Santa Rosa.
Absolutely, well, Santa Rosa, the Bay Area,
Yeah,
absolutely.
then when you get done up there, they're going over to Reading, you know.
Right, no, it was definitely crossed my mind that, whatever, they could be too busy or not have the time, not have the interest, so I definitely, I want to move on this, because that would be very difficult, I believe, engaging another contractor.
And even over a year ago, I called that Knox Roofing, he's advertises, oh, we don't come to San Juan,
Well, why do you advertise the San Juan?
Okay. No, you're lucky you found somebody.
Any other questions from the council? All right, you're going to open this for public hearing? Any from the public want to talk about this? No? No cards? Close public hearing? I need a motion and a second.
Go ahead. I move to pass a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing the city manager to negotiate a contract for the City Hall re-roof project.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's 4-0. Oh, God, look at all this stuff.
Okay, so we got B now, Melrose.
I know, I'm working that way.
Wait.
Remember, we're dealing with morons here.
I'm still on noble pride.
Okay, item B, consider establishment of a Melrose, Jesus God, Jim, a Melrose Community Facilities District.
Rick, can you speak to this?
Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. I'm Rick Clark, I work with Harris and Associates. I've been working with the city manager and Patrick here on the last few months over to get the established and form the community facilities district we're here to talk about tonight. That will be the first of two meetings that we'll have to hold and conduct to get the district formed completely. The Melrose Act in the staff report shows you basically it's there to allow the city to establish a district as a financing mechanism to pay for certain services and improvements. And there's a long list within this Community Facilities District Act that cannot be funded through those districts. But the act was also amended in '93 to require that any city that has not previously formed a CFD to establish what they call local goals and policies procedure. Basically, I've done that for you. It's a basic form that says this is what we want to do, this is why we want to form this district. It's not a set in stone document at this time. It's good for what we need for the purposes of this evening for forming this district, but it can be modified and amended as needed in the future if you decide that you want to form a different type of community facilities district that has municipal bonds associated with it, as an example. So the local goals and policies that's been provided today, and you will be asked to approve it, so for this evening, can be amended, but it is good for the purposes of what we need to be tonight. There are two ways for a district like this to be formed and initiated. One is that two council members can request that it be formed for whatever reason, or you can get a petition from the property owners to do that. In this case, that's what we got. We got a petition from the Eden Bridge development for Copperleaf, and we got a petition from the Rancho Vista from Meritage to form the district. And that's just kind of the first step. We need to get that in place. We received those. They have been filed with the city, signed by the developers and all of that. So they're good to do. They're good as far as the petition goes and the actual initiation of the formation procedure. This district is going to be ultimately a citywide district. We established the boundaries of the district as the boundaries of the city. The reason being is that as new development comes in, all we'll have to do is annex those new developments into the district as a new development. We'll develop a budget for that one, and they'll become a new zone, or in this case, a new tax zone, as we call them in the report. And then as specific improvements for each of those developments are identified, we can then come up with a special tax for that new tax zone. For this one here, for the formation of the district, we have two initial tax zones, one for Eden Bridge, one for Meritage. The maximum assessment for the Eden Bridge district, or the zone, is $855.12, and that's the maximum that can be charged for a particular year. For Meritage, it's over $1,000, $1,091.14. And that number, that maximum assessment, or special tax in this case, is inflated every year by, I forget whether it's 2% or CPI, but there's an actual inflator that's established, and every year that maximum number gets bumped up by that number every year. The city...
Pretty important that we understand what it's being inflated by.
I have it in the report, I just can't recall.
Okay.
And they're not doing that tonight, right? They're not doing that tonight.
They're not doing that tonight.
establishing tonight.
Okay. Good enough.
You're just passing the...
You're not establishing anything tonight, you're just kind of doing the first step of this.
The first step, right?
But I want to give you the answer to that. It is in the report, now I'll give it to you. So, let's see. Now, let me find it after we're done.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's 2%. 2%.
2%.
It's a flat 2%.
I have a question. You said something about the boundaries of the city?
Yes.
What is it? But the whole city's not in a Melrose.
That's correct. One of the options we have is to create one district with this, in essence, a nebulous boundary of the city boundaries. We needed to establish a boundary map, which is city boundaries. And it becomes sort of nebulous because you're right, the whole city is not within the district. It's just the ones that are specifically annexed in as tax zone 1, tax zone 2, those types of things.
So you couldn't annex another one in without a vote from the residents in that district?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask this, the money that you're speaking of, the $1,091.14 and $855.12, is that in addition to the regular County of San Benito property tax that is assessed to me and everybody else who lives in San Juan or San Benito County?
Yeah.
So they're going to have a higher tax rate than the people who... Okay.
I think you should explain what that money covers.
In this case, there's a list within the report that pays for the landscape maintenance, which is directly related to those developments, park maintenance within the city, recreational equipment, which is specific to the Rancho Vista development. They've got kind of a walking trail, a recreational trail in there, so they pay that specifically, which is why there's a difference in the rates for each of those tax areas. Pays for street and sidewalk maintenance, including repairs and replacement down the road. Curb and gutter maintenance, street lighting maintenance and power, storm drain maintenance, sound wall maintenance, fencing, graffiti abatement, some mosquito abatement. So the things are specifically listed out. Each tax zone has its own specific budget, and those items are listed for each one of those.
So for each of those items you just mentioned, our Public Works Department is going to do them or doesn't have to do them, and they're going to hire an outside contractor?
Well, we have a choice on that. What it means is that when a new subdivision comes in, the existing taxpayers don't pay for it.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I was just wondering who's going to do the physical work.
That's up to the city.
Okay.
Whether you do it yourself with your own work, or you throw yourself out.
Okay.
So, yeah, like in the case of Creek Bridge, some of it we do.
Right.
All the landscaping we contract.
But theirs isn't a
It's not a Melrose.
It's just a landscape and lighting district.
Yeah.
It's an assessment district,
Yeah.
But it will be a
what I have
Melrose.
questions about.
What?
It will be a Melrose.
No.
No, not unless we...
Assessment.
Creek Bridge.
Creek Bridge.
Creek Bridge already exists, and it is not a Melrose.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I thought you meant
Okay.
Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this is. Fair Ranch
Yeah.
is one of the exceptions. So, that's, yeah, the escalation is the greater of CPI or 2%. That's the specific one. Greater of CPI or 2%.
So CPI is 3, we get the just,
You get 3.
okay, that's, making sure.
All right, so tonight we had a few documents in front of you to consider and adopt. One's the local goals and policies that I mentioned earlier. There's a resolution to actually go ahead and adopt that local goals and policy. The 2 petitions, one signed and submitted by Eden Ridge and Meritage, are part of those documents. Nothing you need to do on those, just as part of the package that was presented to you. And then the resolution of intent. Basically, that's the resolution saying that you intend to form this district. That resolution does a few things. It accepts those petitions, declares the intention of the city to form the CFD, describes the territories, which is, as we've said right now, it's those tax zones inside the city boundaries. Describes the types of services that are in there. Basically, that list that I mentioned, ran off, is in that resolution. Describes the rate and method of apportionment of special taxes, which again is part of that resolution. That's the biggest piece of any community facilities district, the acronym RMA, rate and method of apportionment. That really defines every piece of what's going to happen within that CFD. And it calls for the second meeting, a public hearing, which we'll have to hold for December 2nd. But the reason for it being December 2nd is the code requires that we wait 30 days before we can have the second one. So December 2nd gives us that 30-day window.
You mean December? Or why does it have to be all the way out to December?
No, I said October 2nd. If I said December, excuse me.
October.
It's October 2nd.
Okay. So that means a special meeting.
Yeah.
That's correct. It cannot be a special meeting.
Pardon me?
It cannot be a special meeting.
Well, October 2nd would be a special
Well, we
meeting.
can do
We don't have a meeting on
it one
October
after
2nd.
that.
Once a month.
The 18th.
Okay, I thought you had it twice a month. I'll change that as needed. The 16th will be the only meeting in October?
It's also a conflict with our planning commission meeting.
Is it 30 days out? The September meeting's too early?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 28 days.
Okay.
Number 16th, I'll make that change on the resolution. I would suggest that when you make the motion to approve the resolution tonight, maybe they do it with the change to the date that's stated on the resolution.
Yeah.
The process was very robust, so we did construction assessments for all these and included a table. So it's my decision to create a citywide CFD so that we can use the same reference table when we go for new development, that they'd use the same construction costs, and that reference table would get updated and everybody would be treated the same way with the same methodology. Rick used Creek Bridge information in terms of how their assessment district is charged, the assumptions around construction costs there, so he took that into consideration. The differences, as Rick mentioned, the recreation as well as the overall land that Meritage has versus Eden Bridge was the cost difference there. So the next tax zone to go in would be the Hillside Vistas. So you would expect, that'll just get annexed into here. The beauty of this is you leverage the same rules and you update it once. You don't have to update 3 different documents. So, yeah. That's the beauty of this.
Okay, so for, next steps, because, we have the resolution presented to you this evening. You can consider and adopt that if you want to. Make the first step on your parts to initiate the proceedings for this and announce your intention. Once you do that, I'll assume that you will, I will mail out the property owner ballots to those property owners. They each get a vote based on the number of acres they have. And it needs to be a 2/3 approval in this case. I don't think there's really a problem with that. property owner on each of these developments, so it's not an issue. That's one of the reasons we always try to get a CFD formed in the development stages. If there are property owners there, you need to either send that many more ballots and/or it has to be done through the registrar of voters. It's just a much more long, complicated, and expensive process.
So I have a couple of questions. Some of them are the maintenance of streets, sidewalks, storm drains, and things like that are traditional city services. You know, cities traditionally takes care of those things. So that means that this will be outside of our budget that we do each year, right?
This gets added to the scope of public works, and/or I say, okay, guys, you know what, we have this set amount of money, I'm just gonna outsource this, you guys stay focused in this section. Yeah.
So you have those choices. So essentially, it's a PUD without being a PUD, basically, right?
In a sense, I think you're right.
Never heard it put that way.
Right. Any other questions?
Yes. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't do this when the subdivisions were approved, because I had to do one in Hollister. The city said, hey, you got to do this Melrose along with all the other approvals.
It was part of the development agreement.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
We put that, so it's definitely part of this development agreement.
It's like Jim says, I mean, I don't want to maintain the streets in Rancho Vista or Copperleaf.
Yeah.
And
by the looks of it, you don't want to maintain 3rd Street either.
no, I got 4th Street. Got 4th Street done.
You should have done it back then.
Yeah. Well,
It should have always been in there. Melrose is a great deal.
Okay.
So
I
you
have
need
a question, Sue.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm done.
Oh, okay. So Rancho Vista's been selling houses, right?
Yes, they have.
So are those new owners voting on this, or is the developer still the title holder? Do we understand that yet?
Yeah, he hasn't closed escrow.
Mark Burrington last week, he said they haven't sold anything yet.
Well, they told us that they sold everything in the first phase and were most of the way through the second. What's that?
Oh, sorry.
No, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Please.
Sometimes when we say we sold something, it means we have a contract in place.
Yeah. Okay.
But they haven't closed the escrow.
Okay.
So the title hasn't changed.
That's what I figured, but I just want to be, we need to be clear on that, because then this whole thing goes down the
If the title has
tubes.
changed hands, it would pass this.
Yeah. And why are we doing a Melrose versus what we already have in place today at Creek Bridge?
Basically, the reason is that the CFD code allows you to do a lot more than the LMD code. LMD is basically for landscaping and maintenance, landscaping and land.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we can amend this later on,
Yes,
the next city
not this
council.
particular.
I think that
not
was-
this yet.
But yes, you can change.
But the future city council
Yes.
can see new needs and make changes, which they couldn't do with a development agreement.
That's right.
The CPI or 2%, is there any concern that that's not going to cover actual costs at some point? I mean, if there's some...
You know, that's always a concern. It's hard to say whether it will or won't. There's nothing that says we have to use a straight percentage, just 2%, just 3%. The greater of, the lesser of. I've seen cities that use CPI plus 3%. So you're trying to make sure they get a good amount.
Yeah,
You know,
the thing I have a couple concerns. Number one is covering the actual cost, and number two is not having this become a war chest that with, when the reality is the CPI is through the roof, but we're doing it ourselves, and we build up, $1 million in this fund, and then what happens to that money? That's not appropriate.
no, it's not. You're right. Keep in mind that the maximum tax in this case that's been established is the maximum. It's not what you have to charge each year.
Got it.
You charge any amount
Okay.
from zero up to that amount for that year.
Okay, and that's what happened in the case of Creek Bridge. we lowered the assessment this year because they had been wanting to build up a reserve, which is appropriate, and the target reserve had been met, so there was no reason to, there was a mechanism for, we lowered that assessment.
The
Okay.
mechanism is the city engineer reassesses it every year.
Okay, this is a new, the Mello-Roos's, I've had a couple of people come to me with, horror stories, and I'm just not clear.
Not surprising.
Yeah, and I think it's because there's the ability for it to be changed that there have been some horror stories.
There have, but it's not really with the ability to change it, as you pointed out, Mr. Mayor. It was really back when they were first formed, there was the ability under the code to have everybody pay for property owners that were delinquent. So you didn't pay your tax bill, and those guys had to pay it for you the next year.
And that would get us upset.
That doesn't change, that has changed. I think it's capped at 5% that you're allowed to do that to collect the delinquency.
Got it.
5 to 10% tops. But that was the biggest problem.
Okay. And then in looking at Exhibit A, which is the list of public facilities to be maintained, there are planter strips in most of that development at Rancho Vista, are there not?
No, they're supposed to be monolithic.
Pardon me?
What I saw was monolithic.
I know the frontage on 129 is monolithic, but I thought the rest of the development had planter strips. Is that not correct? I'm not sure. I
don't believe so. I mean, to tell you the truth, it took me pulling teeth to get all of the information.
Are the pictures in your report, Patrick?
I don't
think so.
Well, I went through Rancho Vista and it's monolithic.
Okay.
I think. I can't say it's all.
Yeah, but you can only go down for those first few houses. And that's what I'm saying is that street, that front street was monolithic. My understanding was that the rest of it was supposed to have planter strips. And that's not called out in here.
Yeah, didn't have that, wasn't information.
Okay. Their water bill and electric bill are not listed here. Like it just says street light maintenance. I don't know if that is.
The water bill itself is shown on the maintenance costs table.
Okay, got it.
So it's in.
Okay, so that's sort of, and the electric similarly, I assume. Okay, those were the things that jumped out.
I just didn't have it placed in both.
Okay. Okay, yeah, the planter strip's the only other one. Because that's my recollection is that that was one of the conditions, because that's a standard in our
landscape
code.
plans, Patrick? Handy?
No, I didn't.
I might have the original landscape.
Yeah, it might be hanging at the desk there.
We're not setting those rates tonight.
No, I understand.
No, we can do that on the next meeting.
It'll come back to you and,
I understand.
Yeah, this is the first one.
yeah.
I'm throwing it out there. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to take a short break. The over 55, wait, never mind. We're going to have public hearing. Public input in this.
We'll take a break right now.
Well, I can take a break, okay. I got to take a break.
Doesn't show the pictures of the subdivision.
No,
I guess I didn't see it.
In the construction report, it shows a couple, but not the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Because Chris might be, I don't know, I couldn't get in the back of Rancho Vista. We just went in and went by the sales office and First Street there, and it's all monolithic. But I don't know about,
I was in it about 2 weeks ago, and I went around and everything, the guy with the little red top followed me.
I got a kick out of that. My wife and I are the same thing 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'm, we're in our car, and I think, what does she think? I'm going to steal some plywood or something?
I know. If I'm bringing a flatbed truck, then you might have to worry.
Boy, I'll tell you, man.
Yeah.
When I went in there a couple of days ago, they were unloading a big flatbed trailer, more roof tiles.
show up really well when I'm driving back on 4th Street. What Caribbean cruise?
Park Street in front of your house, even if it's on right of way, is irrigated from the water. You maintain the roads here, it's an individual property. That may be what
It's all really good, and that's why they disclose the date from there, recorded to it. So that's it.
Did you change it to 30 minutes?
No, I changed it to 10 minutes.
Put it on 32.
No, when I finish tonight, I'm sending it back to 30 seconds. Just to screw it.
The street trees are in that report, in the tree.
Oh, good, good.
Oh, good.
That's the big item. The trees are really the big This is the stuff that gets falls between the cracks. We go from developer to developer. This has been a real learning experience how detailed we need to be.
All right.
I was also planning
If there was a special meeting between them.
Special meeting doesn't count.
You gotta have a regular meeting.
Is today July? Today's July.
No, this is August. This is August.
So he missed the June meeting, but he was here for July.
Yes.
So he's making every other meeting.
Just the opposite of what I'm trying to say. Take our arguments like the city.
Well, if we do, the vice mayor will be the mayor, so it's just, yeah, I'm just gonna,
And you can't put it on lap. You just can't.
that's the one he wants.
I know it is, but it's a total conflict.
He's got so many, yeah.
Right and wrong, this is not right.
Since this is all up board, we can say this is to.
You didn't,
You guys are doing that because, yeah, it's gonna impact the services that we provide to your development, as well as the rest of the quality of life in the city. So that would make us.
No, I don't think I recruited him, but I put the meeting up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he goes, who did that?
He doesn't have to go to the meeting, he just needs to be able to sell his clients on. Has nothing to do with actually showing up.
Where's the issue? Legal issue.
All right, we're gonna bring the meeting back to order. We are on, where are we? We're gonna open a public hearing. Yeah, public comment for, it's not a hearing. Comment. Public comment on the Belarus establishment. Any cards? Trish?
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, your microphone.
I don't want to put it on because they talk.
Say bad words.
That was too long a Teamster, you know? We have any cons for public input into the Belarus?
I didn't put it in the card.
You don't have to put it in the card, just, you know,
Oh, yeah. My question was,
you have to tell us who you
it
are.
says out Flores, I live at 409 7th Street.
That's your driveway.
My driveway is awesome. I got pavers now.
Okay.
Anyhow, if an existing property owner wants to build an addition in our granny house or whatever, gets all approval, does he have to pay these fees as well?
No.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, because if a guy came in and wanted to build one house, then he'd have to get 2/3 of the property owners, and he's the only property owner, so he's not gonna do that.
It's really, this is a process that is basically for developments, larger developments typically, I think. Even like a 5-unit, they probably wouldn't do it.
That would be city policy. I've seen some cities do it that way, but for the most part, you're right, it's more for development.
Yeah, yeah. Although I could see, like Franklin Circle, those folks are all pretty cohesive. I could see them like coming in and asking to be part of the
I could see that one section of 7th Street being.
Yeah, but anyway. Yeah, it's typically,
Thank you, Caesar. All right, now we need a motion on this, and this is for the...
I have one question. You have to bring it back to council.
Not if nobody says anything.
You've got to close a public hearing.
We did close a public hearing.
Anyhow. What I'm curious about it is, are you going to set up sinking funds for all of these items?
Sinking
Or are you
funds.
just going to lump it, put it in one pot?
Oh, no, they'll be separate. Separate for each district, we'll have a fund.
But I mean, let's say, take Rancho Vista, Melrose, that money comes in, are you going to have fund for landscaping, paving, sidewalk, or are you just going to put it all in one pot? I don't know what Hollister did, except that...
That ends up being a city decision, finance decision, how they want to account for it on their own.
I'll probably separate it, just because we put so much thought into, like, that matrix, and we did all the research.
Because you might need roads one year and not landscape for a while later.
So Valley Vista, it's, looks like it's separate. Landscape and lighting, but, and the water costs are separate.
No, I just wondered, because I know I did it in Hollister, and then I always wondered what they did with all that money.
Well, maybe we should set a policy where we divide it into ongoing costs such as electricity bills for the lights and water for the strip irrigation, and then long-term capital costs such as
Replacing the lift station.
yeah, and the roads and sidewalks or whatever, storm drains, whatever.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
That's a good discussion for the budget meeting next year. Or at the mid-year budget meeting.
Okay, who's going to make a motion?
Thanks, Rick. Nicely
You
done.
make a motion?
Thank you.
Make a motion and we approve a resolution for the city of San Juan Bautista approving local goals and policies for community facilities districts.
What?
Okay, I'll second that.
I'm looking for where the number goes, I didn't see it.
Then we don't have one on it. 2018-44.
44.
All right. Have a motion and a second?
Yes.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
4-zip.
Tony, there's a page marker at the very bottom, and that's page 48, is that resolution. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, page 48.
There is a marker down there.
I'll be
We have a very detail-oriented staff.
So we should be doing the second resolution then immediately, correct? Is that the idea? Okay, so I move to pass a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista, California, declaring its intention to establish the San Juan Bautista Community Facilities District number 2018-01.
5.
What says 01 here?
Oh, this has, that has.
That's the district number, correct?
District number.
So 2018-01, and to authorize the levy of a special tax therein to finance certain services and setting the public hearing to consider the establishment of the proposed district, that hearing to be at the regular October City Council meeting, which is October 16th.
Second that.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
4-0.
Okay.
God dang, Jesus.
It's getting past his bedtime.
There we are,
You know-
moving right along.
Okay, where's the next one? God, how many pages you got in this?
Or some of them have a lot of, you know, you can't just like lift it up and see that. Okay.
The next item is on page 75.
Yeah, and the hard part is you try to mark this thing and then you can't read it. It gets all marked up.
Oh, boy.
Okay, consider contract with, what the heck they do? With Dudek Consulting to prepare a capital planning report for the city's wastewater treatment plant.
Mayor, council members, the item in front of you is exactly as the mayor mentioned, is to authorize a consultant to prepare a capital planning report for the wastewater treatment plant. The dollar amount is $33,320. We're recommending a contingency budget of an additional $4,000 for a total authorization of $37,320. So this is before you for several reasons that are mentioned in the report that you've heard this evening and probably before this meeting. And really, why we're here presenting this evening is because of Bracewell giving their 90 days notice to stop operating the wastewater treatment plant. That's number one. We want to capture the institutional knowledge. They've operated that plant for nearly 30 years. Yes, there have been, different people operating it, but you're one of the lead folks. Bracewell staff has been out there 12 years. So number one, we want to capture that institutional knowledge. We released the request for proposal for a contract wastewater operator. And we'd like to be able to weave that into, number one, that RFP, and number two is be able to have a very thorough document to hand to the next contract operator as far as how it operates, what are the elements of the plant that need to be improved. And so I guess that takes me to the next point, which is, as I understand it, and having been out to the plant quite a bit and seen sludge above the water line, which is a bad thing, and yes, we'll have a bid for that, and we will open that. We will find a contractor to do that work. But there's other things out there. The generator that's been there 30 years, the motor control center, which is really the brains or the control of it, has been there 30 years, and at least, so let's see. So, City Manager Michelle and I met with the Bracewell staff, what is it, I know it was August 9th, whatever, that was a couple weeks ago or 10 days ago. One of the main reasons they said as to why they were giving us 90 days notice is because they've made a number of recommendations over the years regarding the need to do sludge removal and other upgrades. At least my understanding is that there was not follow through on the city and the different administrations and the different councils here, as I understand it. And so, the second reason that they gave that's in the report is that, they feel that there are operators who have state-issued certifications are at risk if something were to happen, if there would be a major spill, a major whatever, their license are on the line. And so that's the second reason that they gave us. So the bottom line is, this is an overdue effort for a critical city facility. I am working with Dudek at another city, and I've been working with them for 8 months. They've prepared several reports. They've been very thorough. I've appreciated they've been on time. When they tell me I'm going to get this on this day, it happens on that day, and I really appreciate that. So they've definitely helped with another challenging wastewater treatment plant, and that's why I brought this forward to the city manager. This conversation sort of started in May, when we were getting the rumblings of the challenges at the treatment plant. I think another aspect of the treatment plant is just, we need to plan for the future, and that's why this is in front of you. And I think those are the highlights of my staff report.
I'd like to make one small correction, and you wouldn't have known about it. But I asked for something like this the very first day I sat on this council, which was December, 2016. So it's not new to people who know me. The only other thing I'd like to say is I'd like to make sure that they take a bird's eye view of everything. Tony was talking about running the sewer line back to Hollister, and that's kind of been on the back of my mind for a long time. I've talked about it with several people.
Yeah.
and so I'd like to have them include that in the report, not just, looking at what needs to be fixed out there,
That would be in addition to the that's in front of you.
Okay.
And in my opinion, that's part of a sewer master plan.
Okay.
But raise another point that you're well aware of is this treatment plant's being surrounded by residential units, number one.
Yes.
Number two, at some point there'll have to be a different treatment process or the odor control.
Yeah,
may be a
there's
serious
filtration
concern.
systems,
Right.
things of that
So
nature.
this is
Tertiary treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is as you're saying, Councilmember Friedman, this is an important planning document.
Yes. Because Bracewell thought they didn't want to go down with this ship, is basically what they said.
That's absolutely right, yeah. And a little to your point is, Michelle had asked him for an extension, like 90 days notice. And when I first heard about this, I actually prepared a schedule. So what's it going to take? How urgent is this? And actually it's like, oh, Michelle, we have to get this RFP out in about 10 days, in order to go through. And I've, yes, we issued the RFP today, but I've started reaching out last week, because that's what I like to do, is reaching out to people, letting them know this is coming, plan for a walk on, next Thursday, August 30th. So I start knocking on doors or spreading the word, because this is a bit of a specialty contract. I did this 2.5 years ago in Gonzales, for what it's worth. I'm sorry, I'm jumping to my next. Well, no, actually, what I am jumping to, sorry, is the RFP for contract wastewater operator is a bit of a specialty. It's not like we have, they're not, your whatever concrete pavers, your masons, or whatever the contractors that we have within 30 minutes. But we did engage a firm in Gonzales, and we went through this process 2.5 years ago. So it does take all of 90 days to do this, is my point. And we are going down the path of the RFP for the contract operator. I know I'm getting a little off topic, but this will be an important thing to hand over to that operator, rather than them having to go through the same drill at this plant.
Did we budget for this? We did not, so you're going to have to work some numbers, move some stuff.
We budgeted 40,000 for, master plan. 50,000.
Okay, so this
would
eat up a big chunk of our...
line item 34 in the budget, capital plan,
Okay.
We'd have to switch it.
It has to be done, though. This is just as important as any speed bump on 4th Street. This is
a lot more important.
This has to be done. If we want this city to survive, it has to be done.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Public comment. Anyone, any public comment? Any cards? All right, I'm going to close the public comment period and bring it back to the board.
I think John said it. We just need to do this.
This is not a choice. I mean, you can get by without fixing roads, but you can't get by without fixing the sewer plant.
We have. Let's be honest. We have gotten by with not fixing the sewer treatment plant. I think some of this is a little. I think you've been pretty kind to the Bracewell guys.
Yeah.
We absolutely asked them for. We asked them to give us an assessment, and we've gotten absolutely no communication from them. So it feels like the rat's jumping off the sinking ship to me, but that's my personal perspective.
But we need a motion.
Okay, I move that we, where is it?
82.
82.
God damn.
I
Hey.
don't know, I lost mine to hell. I'm tired of this thing. I want mine, I want a hard copy.
I move that we have a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing a contract with Dubeck Consulting to prepare a capital planning report for the city's wastewater treatment plant.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's 4-0. Not last item.
Almost.
Items D, consider adopting a uniform public works accounting code to streamline delivery of public works projects.
Mayor, council members, this is something I brought to the city manager's attention, and this is because we're seeking your direction. The state of California, I don't know the date, but it's in here 15 years ago, maybe longer, established a uniform contracting code that allows basically for streamlining public works projects. And I would hold up the city re-roof as a candidate for that. But you see the breakdown in here that it allows, basically it gives the city manager authority to authorize contracts, yes, expenditures, public works contracts, up to $45,000 would be on a negotiated, possibly single source, but I put in here, we would see multiple bids for that kind of work. It does allow for a single quote, but I can't see this agency or another agency doing that. And then the next step is between $45,000 and $175,000 is an informal bid. And then the last one is any public works contract over $175,000 is the formal contracting policies or the procurement that we have now in the municipal code. And there's,
which is FRPs or RFP, thank you.
Well, so this is public work contracts. This is your road projects, water line projects. It's not for professional services. What we would have to do is establish a list of contractors every year, and they kind of say in November you would send out a notice to builders exchanges, construction journals. Hey, the city of San Juan Bautista is establishing an on-call list under the Uniform Contracting Code. Let us know, and they basically let you know by the contractor licensing number. Oh, I can do concrete work, paving work, welder work, whatever. And when we have a project under between $45,000 and $175,000, it's our responsibility to let all those contractors know under that certain certification we're doing sidewalk work. You're a concrete contractor, so you would make them aware of that. There's a minimum of 10 days to do it. So we have to create this list and basically update it every year for the upcoming calendar year. There's over 200 cities in California that use this. There's 1,000 agencies, over 200 cities. We use this in the city of Gonzales, City of Morgan Hill. I did look at the list. Hollister's not on the list, but San Benito Unified School District is on the list for using this. I don't know to what degree they use it. I can't tell you that. I think some agencies have this on the books and they don't use it. But it does, for instance, one of the things about the procurement policy here in the municipal code is, everything over $5,000 has to be publicly noticed in the newspaper, and that's $400 at minimum with the freelance. So we would eliminate that cost. It does speed work up, and that it does say that it streamlines public project delivery. This is we're just seeking direction. This is not an action item.
It is an action item.
Well, it's provide direction is the action.
Yeah.
Like, do we want to go in this direction? Is this some...
Well, I remember years ago when $5,000 was a big deal.
Yeah.
$5,000 you can't get a truck out here,
Not for paving or anything.
No.
It would be an ordinance to do this, because you have to amend the city code, so it would take 2 meetings.
Okay,
So it'd have to
so
come back.
this is the first meeting?
This is just to give Patrick his marching orders to prepare the ordinance.
Oh, okay, I got it.
So my concern is that, one time I thought we had a funky procurement system on a particular item, and I just thought it was way out of line. And I want to make sure that we still have the ability to get a second bid on stuff between $5,000 and $45,000. It's just me,
Yeah, but it's like we pointed out with the roof. You can't get anybody to do that. That's all too small a job. The big companies can't swing their guns for it.
I tend to agree with John on this. I feel like we have, we have a new city manager in place, And I certainly, and I think we all feel very comfortable with her judgment. Integrity, good word, integrity and judgment. And, but I think there's a great deal of distrust in the population. There's a lot, and we've seen it questioned repeatedly when bids, when there's been some of this bid activity. On the other hand, we continue to have problems not being able to get bids. So I would like to think about it a little more, but my inclination would be to raise the current limit.
To 10 maybe?
Well, 10 or 20 or 25, but these numbers are, this would cover everything, anything that we want to do would just be up to the city manager, and it would feel to me like there was, little or no oversight. And I'm with the history, I'm uncomfortable with that, especially as we're coming to, in my case, coming to the end of my term. I'd almost like to see some of the incoming council be able to weigh in on this, perhaps. And I don't think that would be necessarily an undue burden to wait a couple of months.
I just wanted to bring it to the council's attention.
Yeah,
this was an option.
I don't know. I'd like to think about it a little bit longer and talk to some people, including Michelle. I haven't had a chance to talk about this with you, so. I'm sure there's a lot of other considerations out there that I'm just not considering, but part of it, a big part of it for me is just the optics. And us working hard to reestablish confidence or establish confidence. So trust. Yeah. Yeah.
So I appreciate that, and I
sure
figure this out.
So what do you?
Provide direction.
What do we want?
My only maybe building on your comment is that in the future when this does come back, and I'm not trying to get this hammer pushing this through, is would it be that these are the dollar amounts, but it'd be up to the council to authorize that contract, for instance. But this would speed up the public bidding process, but the contract authorization is left to the council, is my only add.
Yeah, I need to think about this. Because I think I see I see where you're going with that, and I think that's probably makes more sense, or I think that would be acceptable.
Right.
The dollar figures are definitely higher than I'm comfortable with, but in essence, the ability to say for some under this dollar amount, we don't have to go out, and we can use an informal bid process, and having some more flexibility in that regard, I'm very comfortable with.
To have to bid any public work over $5,000 is a huge effort.
Seems like a burden.
No contract is going to do it.
No, I'm with you.
Well, how do we establish a way to do informal bidding?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That certainly makes sense.
Well, the funny part about it is I was talking to a constituent here about 2 weeks ago down at Vertigo's, and he brought this up. He is a union representative for kind of a lobbyist type of person to get people to join the union, and he brought this. He had an acronym for it, and I go, what? And I go, I never heard of it, and I've done lots of public bids, but mine was more for services than we didn't build anything, So, yeah.
I want to come back to a comment that you said, which is the dollar amount, and just to say that about 3 years ago, it was increased. Before it was $30,000, and I believe the upper number was on the order of $140,000. So about 3 years ago, it got raised, in my opinion, rather significantly to what's in here, just to come back to that point.
Sure.
Well, the other thing is, for a city like Los Angeles or Long Beach, this is just a rounding error, it's... Right.
Yeah,
and we kind of grumble over every last $50.
Yeah, that's all right.
But you go to a large company and they look at a lot of hassle for a $50,000 job, and they go, we're not even going to swing our gun to it.
Yeah.
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 I know what you're going through. I'm trying to get the roads in the cemetery redone. I got one bid, and as it turns out, it's a local guy, and I think he's doing it as a favor.
Yeah, you got to knock on a lot of doors.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it to the council's
Thank
attention.
you. No, it's good. A change definitely makes sense, I think.
Well, I think that, I don't want to burden the city manager with having to go through all those steps for a small dollar amount that nobody's going to bid on, you know? And I have faith in her, and I think we all do, but I understand your position. So what do we do now?
You're just giving general direction, so yeah.
Public comment?
You can have public comment on it, but
Yeah.
it's...
Can open up for public comment? Nobody wants to go. All right, no cards. I'm going to close public comment. Bring it back to the board.
I don't know that we have any, I'm not sure what direction to give at this point. I'm not feeling, I see both sides, but I'd like to discuss it with a couple of people.
Let's think about it for a while.
I'd like to continue it to the next meeting.
All right, we'll continue to the next meeting.
If that's all right.
That's fine, that's fine. I understand completely.
How about to the January meeting?
Yeah, how about the January meeting? The December meeting, because we only open it and then we go.
That's right. Maybe it's John's problem.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. We'll put that up on the
See,
December meeting.
I'm what we used to call in the Army short timer.
All right.
5E.
We are now at comments. City.
No,
No,
5E.
we're at 5E, our emergency edition.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. 5E. Resolutions. Oh yeah, we have to change the. Would you explain it, please?
Right, so, Mr. Mayor, despite the fact that we submitted our resolution for the ballot measure to the county register, I think in May, and they okayed it, they, on Friday, came back and said that the wording that they wanted us to add, we had tax upon cannabis business based on square footage, $3 to $12 per foot, and they want us to add $3 to $12 per square foot. So as I even look at this right now, it's kind of redundant, and
Oh my God.
and what we actually have to do is go to the judge and ask him to allow us to add square foot here.
I mean, we lifted this right off the county's.
Yes,
It already passed, didn't it?
Yes, we did. So I don't know exactly what the register's process was on this, and it seems to me pretty picky. And I think that if the judge doesn't grant it, and it stays on the ballot the way it is, I still think it's sufficient to inform the voters on what the tax is going to be. But this is what they said to us and their concern. And so I have done an amendment for resolution for you to amend the ballot language. I know that at the top it should read 2018-39. And what it is going to do is it's going to change the...
One word.
In the 8th sentence, it's going to change after 3 to 5 per foot, it's going to add it adds per square foot.
Okay.
And so I need you to do the resolution, and what I also need is, we actually have to bring it in the form of a lawsuit where a elector has to be the plaintiff in the lawsuit. So
What is that?
it's just going to be a writ of mandate. The court takes it on an expedited basis, so it should just be one fast hearing in front of the judge that he's going to allow us to add this word. But I need a voter, which I assume will be the mayor, assuming you're a registered voter in this city.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to ask, just so we don't have to go back.
For the job. Yeah.
Right,
If I'm
right.
not, we're in real trouble.
Assuming. So to also ask that the mayor serve as our elector to actually sue the city clerk to put this on the ballot. So that's how it's going to work.
Okay.
So it's a lot of rigmarole for not much, but you'll remember I said all the way through the process, they're going to find something wrong with it, they're going to find something wrong with it, so here we are.
So we need to have this passed, this resolution.
Yes, and I need all four voters on this one to
Yeah, and
pass
we
it.
need
Public comment?
Yeah, we need
Yes.
public comment if it's going to
Public
be. So we're going to open a public hearing to anyone who has a comment about adding square to the word foot. All right,
Thank
none.
God.
Close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. I need a resolution.
Let's do this. Let's do it.
I'll make a motion to approve a resolution to amend Resolution 2018-39, changing the ballot question wording for a ballot measure which, if approved by a majority of the electors of the city at the November 6, 2018 general municipal election, would impose a cannabis business activities tax on cannabis business in the city.
Second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. 4-0.
So I just want to mention to the council, as I'm looking at this, because I just got back in the office and threw this all together, and I'm going to talk with them tomorrow, because it almost seems the way it says activities based on square footage, that's where it says square foot, and why they want us to add square doesn't make sense. So just, if you give me the discretion, if they say, okay, don't add the square foot, then we won't bring a writ of mandate and amend
As
this.
soon as you mention lawsuit, I'm looking 3 to 4 years out.
No, it won't be. It's expedited, and it's just a writ, so it's not a lawsuit, it's just a one hearing.
Now, my understanding is the county tax already been passed, or is it on this ballot?
It was passed.
It was passed?
Yes.
Last year or 2 years ago?
Last election in June.
Oh, so
Yeah,
the
in June,
county,
yeah.
okay. That's what's so ridiculous, is this is lifted directly from the county language.
Yes.
We changed the numbers and we, scratched out County of
Yes.
San Benito and put City of San Juan Bautista.
Right.
I think that they did a 2,
They did,
and it made it to the ballot with a 2 on it, right?
with the 2, yeah.
Oh,
That's a,
well, that was the option, we could do that, but we have no reference to square
But it does
in what we
say,
presented.
It
it does say
square
activity
footage.
based on square footage, colon, 3 to 12. So
Yeah,
it's
oh, well.
it's
It is what it
it's
is.
somewhere.
We need
I
more
mean,
lawyers, you know?
Right, it is. It's
Okay.
All right, now.
There we are.
I hate to say it, but you did not do the treasurer's report either.
We put that off, yeah, okay.
well, we were waiting for Chuck at 7:30. I mean,
All right, this is the, no, it's not it.
Questions? Maybe?
Yeah, we're going to do the treasurer's report. Where the heck is it? Oh, here it is, B, 4B,
Page 18.
page 18, yes. City manager, you want to run that by real quick? Yeah.
we all did.
Some of us less than others.
All I know is John and I signed all the checks, so the warrant list must be all right.
Yeah.
It's big. It's really
Yeah, some of it is substantial.
That was a pretty big warrant list.
Come on.
I like to panic Laura and tell her, I can't come in and sign
Sorry.
checks."
Put it on airplane mode.
So Michelle, do you want to go over that, or just?
She's finding it.
Oh,
No, I found it, I'm just looking at it,
Picking out the highlights.
It's more of a,
can I ask you a question about the treasurer's report? We've okayed a thing to study this, the wastewater treatment plant, but then when we get done with that study, we're going to have to put money into that. A lot of money. Is that right? Or am I wrong?
you're right. So
Do we have that?
Next year, we're gonna have to,
Yeah, we budgeted.
We budgeted for the sludge
400,000?
removal, I thought. Some of it, that's gonna be most of it.
Well,
That'll be most of it, yeah.
Well, all I can say is, next council can figure that one out.
Well, it's,
Well, we can also, there's $600,000 in sewer capital.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's plenty
We
of money.
decided to, and part of that was remapping or doing a master plan on the sewer piping. That could be, we could discuss using that extra.
Yeah, or using something from
$300,000.
roads or something, or, because we can get by without fixing roads.
You can't
It's
mix
gotta stay in the sewer.
funds.
That's right, it does, you're right, never mind.
Yeah, you can't mix
You're
those
right.
two funds.
That's why I'm not an accountant.
But we have $300,000 to.
Also why you don't sign the checks.
Yeah, I do sign the checks.
Oh, you do? I'm sorry.
I sign them after Tony signs them, then I know they're good.
The only reason I signed them is Laura cries, please come sign check. We're gonna have to change that, you're gonna have to get some more signers.
Yeah, we're gone.
We're under our spend rate, so our spend rate should be 8%, we're at 4%. That tells us that we're not executing, and/or we're late in paying bills.
Well, we're in the first month of the new year.
Right, so the sewer, like for instance, some of the sewer work, we should already maybe start putting some money into. We have used some of the water. Those are the big ticket items. We're ahead on roads and restrooms. Restrooms and roads funds. Probably as we built this restroom here, and I know we're working on the restroom at Meridian Park. But the big takeaway is that we're underspending on the overall budget. And then you look at the highs and lows. So you see your year-to-date spend and income, and you look for highs and lows from that. So you see 35% on animal control. We budgeted 10,000. We've already spent 3,500. It's because we paid pet rents right away. The other one I would look at is if we got more revenue coming in from like ordinances, from fines. That would be interesting to see. I would expect that to be higher than expected. So the first page is the revenue, the income. The second page is the expenditures. They're both under per plan. And then your big outlier is your animal stuff. And everything else is underspent, so not a lot to worry about in terms of the overall budget spending.
I guess what I'm asking is how bad could that report be, and how much immediate cash could they need so we don't have a real problem with our sewer?
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's a good question. So the thing that keeps me wondering is this potential smell. So we're going to get rid of a bunch of sludge, and we're going to get it down to at least 50% from where it is now. So we'll have plenty of capacity. Now, does that change the smell of the sewer? It's going to help. In addition to that, we do know that we want to put some sort of fan and filtering system for the odors, because that development's going to start right next door to it. That Valley Hillside Vistas is going to start really quickly. So they're Bracewell. So Lloyd and Chris came in. We spent a good 2.5 to 3 hours with them. They gave us a lot of great ideas on how to handle the smell from that sewer. The other big one is upgrading the power. The power is at, it's the limiting factor. I did reach out to an electrician actually today to come assess it. I do not have any idea how much it's going to cost to double or increase the power capacity to maximize that plant.
How many amps do you think you're going to need?
I have it in my note. Well,
Because PG&E will have to be involved in that too.
For sure.
They'll have to change transformer, something like that.
Let me do this whole staff report on like the Braceville.
I bring this up because it scares me. You know, that we're gonna have a big study, there might be a lot of money that we need to spend fairly quickly so we don't go run afoul.
No, it's a fair question. And you only have one place to grab that money from. It's really the sewer enterprise. I saw in the past, they borrowed money from one to the other, and there may
From the general fund.
There may be ways to do a loan, that type of thing from the general fund.
Well, we're paying that
We're
back.
paying it back
We're
from the
paying
general
back
fund
to the
back.
general fund from the sewer fund, so we may have to postpone that. I
Well, we're gonna have more money coming in because there's gonna be 140 some odd new homes, not even counting D'Ambrosia, whatever they're called these days, you know. So that'll add to our fund.
Well, let me ask you,
considerably.
John, you comfortable, John?
I'm never comfortable. The sewer plant's right above my house, so.
Michelle, I asked Roger to make sure that in this, what I call it D'Ambrosia, you said it's in Hillside or something?
Yeah.
That in their paperwork, that the buyers had to sign that they were aware that they were downwind from the sewer plant. And I don't know,
So I think we're getting a little off track from the treasurer's report, so
They can
maybe,
see it from that
right.
location though, Tony. It's not,
Okay.
But your point
I'm
is.
sorry.
yeah, that's not the point.
I just want to make sure it's not on the agenda, so we can't really discuss, have a large discussion here about something not.
Rat's nest there. Well, I can deal with it as it comes, but that's good.
All right, so now we're done with the treasurer's report. Was there any public comment on the treasurer's report? Good. That's closed. We're back to comments from the council. Comments from city council, city manager, city attorney. Oh, good. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second? What?
Wants to stay on.
I don't think you need a second to adjourn. You can just call it.
We adjourn. I don't care. Hey, I'm going to take this little computer home with